Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leaning In with Anne. It's a live broadcast that I do every Monday through Thursday. Today we're going to talk about peace. And we're going to talk about stillness. And all the reasons why we don't. There are some things I need to talk to God about, and I know that He's in the stillness. So most people say, I don't know if it's my voice, I don't know if it's God's voice. A lot of times that's because we're so busy in our heads that we haven't hit stillness. God is in the stillness. That's like, if you can calm down just enough, there'll be a thought that is clear. Not all over the place kind of thought, but one that goes, ooh, that's exciting. That's the one that I want to chase down right now. You can check in and say, hey, God, is this really a thought that you want me to have or not? But you can't do it if you're not still. So as part of mentoring, one of the things I do is help people get still enough that they can hear and feel. Honestly, the hearing is actually the feeling within their heart. What needs to happen for them? Let's talk about why we don't get still. One of the reasons why we don't get still is we have so many responsibilities. And I kind of want you to play a game with me a little bit, and let's find all of the adages or sayings that contribute to us not having peace. So something like, no play until the work is done. It kind of means don't rest, right? No play until the work is done. Anybody else think of anything else? I've got to keep all the balls in the air. I actually do juggle. Got to keep all the balls in the air. I'm juggling everything. Have you ever heard and said to yourself, there's no time for me? So the work is never done. So what other adages do we have that we can't have rest, we can't have peace, and we've got to stay in hypervigilance? I know that when I was a young mom, having a thought longer than 30 seconds did not happen. Because every time I'd have a decent thought, then a kid would need something, and I just learned not to even really try to get peace. Oh, what about this? Anybody else out there? I remember years and years ago when Oprah was talking about meditation. So I tried it. All I did was fall asleep. Like every time I tried to meditate, I just fell asleep. I mean, that's stillness, I guess, but I wasn't really thinking. Okay, another thing that I would love to know is when you think about stillness and peace, do you think about sitting still? Because sometimes I find my stillness in my walk. So maybe stillness isn't having the body be completely still, but what do you do to bring your mind out of all the chaos? So another thought I had this morning, which definitely used to be mine, a pattern, is that I didn't trust stillness. It was uncomfortable. And the reason is because it's a coping mechanism from trauma. Because if I get my hypervigilance down or I let myself rest, I wasn't geared up and prepared for the next wave of trauma that was about to hit. That's rough. So I didn't trust it. I did not trust that stillness was okay. So it doesn't mean sitting still all the time. So I had a girl who came to live with me while she did a college program. She and I had been friends when she was younger. I was her youth leader. And there's a lot of chaos going on at her house. So she went from North Carolina up to Pennsylvania, and she lives with me. And I have a very non-drama-filled life. I do that on purpose. I do not do drama. When there's too much drama, I will try to solve that, and then I'm out. I don't do drama. I grew up in chaos. I grew up in explosions. I grew up in lots of shame. And so when those things show up now, I go, I am not going to put that into my space. So this girl, one day she came, I just feel like I need to be doing something. I just feel like I need to be doing something. She was working, she was going to school, but when she would come home, there was no chaos. There was no grief. There was no drama. There was just me, Tom, Jaden, and happy. And I remember her going, I don't know what to do with this. I said, is it possible that you are addicted to drama? I want you to think about this for just a minute. When you have a lot of hypervigilance all the time, your body is producing a whole lot of adrenaline. And then if you don't have that adrenaline coursing through your body, you can feel like there's something wrong. Because the adrenaline almost is like the stimulant that keeps you running and keeps you going. And so when it's not there, that can feel like it's boring. And that's what she felt. And so we talked about, is it possible that you're addicted to drama? I want you to think about that for just a minute. Are you addicted to being busy? Are you addicted to drama? Do you feel like when you do get still and you rest, do you feel kind of panicked? Like, wait a minute, what do I have to do? There's something that I'm missing. I've got to do something. Yeah. It's because your body and all the feelings that you have as you deal with the drama and all that, it is vibrating. Did you know that your body vibrates? This is how I know. Have you ever walked into a room where other people have been fighting and then they're not anymore, but you can totally feel it? Or have you ever walked into a room where a teenager's doing something they're not supposed to do and they look completely innocent, but you can feel it? Okay, I don't know if guys have that feeling, but moms, we have a spidey sense. Women in general, we have spidey sense. We can feel those things. It's because the body is actually vibrating out with emotion. Emotion generates outwards from you. So what we've taught, what I teach all the time, and what I would love for you to understand is that it's because of belief. When you have a certain belief, emotions generate out. So if you believe you don't have time for stillness, then if you ever try to get still, that belief is going to generate panic. If you believe that you're being lazy if you're being still, because the work is not done, so you got to keep going, that belief is going to generate panic and antsy. If you lived in a house where you had to tiptoe all around to make sure you didn't upset anybody so the next explosion didn't happen, you had to be hyper vigilant. Yeah, not trusting that peace meant anything good. It just meant it's the calm in between the explosions. That was my life. Then my belief is I can't actually trust peace, so I will make something up. Think about that. Does your body know what peace feels like? What stillness feels like? So many times when we say, I don't think that God's talking to me, what I hear is my body doesn't know how to just be at rest and be still. My mind doesn't know how to be at rest and be still. If that is the case, take a deep breath for me just right now. Feel what it feels like when you exhale. Do it again. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Be real quiet for a second. Listen to what's around you. Notice if your body's trying to freak out on you. And if not, say, hey, stillness, I see you. This feels really good. I'm going to sit in stillness. I'm going to teach my body that stillness is okay and that it's not a threat. Now, what's beautiful is when I walk with somebody in their peace. They don't have to be calm and chill and That's not necessarily peaceful. Sometimes peaceful is just knowing what you need to do and having no doubt, no fear, no worries about whether or not anybody's going to agree with you. You just, this is what I'm going to do. That's peace. I love it when I hear people talk about inspiration, and you can feel it when they're talking about it, and it's really peaceful. Now, here's one of the problems. What if your loved one gets inspiration that you don't like? How do you sit with them and know that that's what they're going to do and that it's inspiration? For instance, my daughter, she served a church mission. She went to Japan for 2 years, just completely service while she was there. And when she came home, I had missed her so badly, so badly. She came home and she says, "And I'm going to college in 3 weeks." And I'm like, no, you need to stay here. You need to reconnect with us. You need to get your life kind of, just rest. You've been so busy, just rest. And she says, "Mom, I need to go. I just need to go." And I'm like, "No, you don't need to go." She says, "Mom, I feel inspired. God wants me to go." How do you honor when someone else is inspired? Like, you can't even trump God. I don't want people to trump when God talks to me. And I say, "Hey, I've been inspired to do this, so I'm going to do it." I don't like people to tell me, "No, he didn't." No, because it usually works out. I mean, very rarely, if I'm inspired to move my feet, is it not God? But so many people don't understand what I'm doing. I look like I'm a crazy chick. What if it's inspiration taking place? Parents, the safest thing that you can do for your children is to teach them what it feels like when inspiration is happening for them. And then you got to believe them when it comes to be. Because you know what? My daughter, she doesn't live with me. She's got her own life. And guess what? I am not around to make sure that she's peaceful. I'm not around to make sure that she has a relationship with God and knows what inspiration is. I will tell you that because of the way that I have decided I crave inspiration, and I know that the only place that I can feel really inspired is if I go into peace in my heart. That means no drama. It means not blaming anybody. It means no victimhood. It means no judgment of others. Because when I'm judging, I'm all sorts of busy in my body. When I'm blaming somebody, I'm not taking responsibility, so I can't hear revelation. When I'm blaming me in shame or I'm blaming somebody else, there's no revelation there. It's really judgment and blaming are two of the biggest ones. Oh, and if I'm worried about somebody else judging me, I don't have peace there. It's in that stillness that I get the revelation, and I know for a fact. So let's talk really quickly. We got just a couple of minutes about tricks and hows. Find a piece of music and lay down for 15 minutes while listening to some music. I suggest no words. I suggest instrumental and possibly something that you know the words to. That's fine. I've got piano hymns that I absolutely love. And you lay down and you just listen to it and you hear the notes. 15 minutes. Do you have 15 minutes? Because I guarantee scrolling on the phone for 15 minutes and making your mind think about this thought and then that thought and then this thing and that thing because you're scrolling so fast, it's not peace. You can take 15 minutes and get into some peace. These smartwatches, they have a thing where you can breathe with them. And you just focus. They'll buzz at you. Take a deep breath in, they buzz, you blow it out, and you see if you can sync up with the watch. 2 minutes. And it actually can be some stillness. Another way to get stillness is to do what we're going to do right now, and that is you're going to get into your body and you're going to say, look around at 5 things that you see that are interesting to you. 5 things. I've got a lipstick mark on my cup that I just drank. I've got blinds in front of me, and their slats are interesting to me, how the light is coming through. I'm interested in the shadows behind me and how, like where that lamp is, and how the light is being cast via the windows. You can see it, see? The light's being cast from the windows. And it's just a really interesting light difference. I can see that. Okay, now let's go into 4 things you can hear. So I can hear a clock. I just realized when I cleaned up my dad's house, there was this alarm clock. I think it's in the closet right there. I can hear traffic. Got a little bit of a ringing in my ears. Okay, now, smell. 2 things you can smell. Do you smell anything right now? I got this candle in front of me. I can smell that. Now, shut your eyes, and I want you to notice the thoughts that come in. They'll come in like a stream, and if you just kind of notice them, you can watch them go out. You don't have to grab them in. You don't have to really think and chew them up or make sure that you catch them. No, we're just going to just let the thoughts go for a minute. You can even ask a question, see if a thought comes. Like, for me, I'm going to re-record the webinar that I did. My question, just peacefully, what changes, what things need to be cut out? And listened for a thought. If this feels boring and you're bouncing out because it's like, she's not entertaining enough, I'm going to suggest that maybe you're addicted to the busy just a little bit. That your body's freaking out and saying, I don't have time for stillness. I don't have time. I don't have time for this. It's okay. It's okay. Ask for it. Throw it up into the air. Sometimes my prayers bounce off the ceiling because I'm not really thinking. But if you can think of God for just a minute and say, I'm curious. I am now aware that I don't understand stillness. That I don't like it or I don't crave it. I ask that you teach me what stillness is and that you teach me to pull out of it when I need to have action. Because I have met people who are addicted to the stillness and they're not balanced. Because they stay in this spot and this spot and this spot and they never re-engage. So be careful, because let's find our balance. Stillness and action. Action and stillness. There is a scripture that I absolutely love that talks about the humble followers of Christ who have gained a peace sufficient that they can enter into the rest of the Lord from this time henceforth until they rest with him in heaven. I love the idea that no matter how chaotic the world is, the peace is here, the stillness is here, and as long as I am moving and breathing, that peace and that stillness can always be with me. You can always breathe. Sometimes I'm so busy I have to ask and say, I need you, Father, to please. I need you, Jesus, to please help me for just a minute. Be still so that I can know that you are God. I will walk with you. I will walk with you through peace. I will walk with you through peace because I trust you. And I know that inspiration is taking place. I will walk with you in peace because I know the world is opening up. I recommend today that you step into some peace. Find a moment. It can be in the car when you're driving kids around and you're waiting in that parking lot. I encourage you to find a moment of peace, maybe when you're in the tub or in the shower. Just feel what the water feels like on you. I encourage you to find some peace and some stillness where you're not thinking about all the worries and you're saying, help me disengage for just a second. Just for a second. If you really want to do it, go into a memory. When is a time, not even the last time, when is a time in your life you felt really peaceful? I actually get to experience this every Sunday because on Sundays when I go to church, we partake of the sacrament, the bread and the water, every single week. And it is a time where the entire congregation sits in silence and prayer. Just help me to feel how much you love me. That's a great meditation. Teach me to feel and recognize in my body how much you love me. 5 minutes of it, and then jump out. That is my suggestion, my ideas today, and the things that God put in my heart. So I hope that you will find some peace today. All right, everybody, have a super good weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.